Hello class 8, welcome back to your History Civics class. Children, I hope you have enjoyed your holiday summer break as well as you have revised all the chapters, all the exercises and the work done. So wasting no time, let's begin our class, and today I'm going to continue the same chapter, that is chapter number 1B from Civics, and the name of the chapter is the organs of Indian government and the subtitle is the executives. So let's start our class. In last video, I told you about the various functions and the powers of the president regarding president's administrative power, president's legislative powers, and I told you about the diplomatic powers, military powers of the president, as well as I also told you about the judicial power of the president. Now, in today's class, we are going to discuss about the emergency power and the discretionary power of the president. After that, we'll also discuss about the position of the president, and after finishing this topic, we are going to discuss about the vice president, his powers, functions, and positions. So let's begin our class. There are three types of emergency. First one is the national emergency, when there is a certain crisis or a situation of civil war or war or a situation of war or aggressions or rebellion inside the country, that is civil war, right? So in those cases, national emergency is declared, and that emergency is declared by the president, right? So that's under article 352. Emergency could be declared by the president. Now, second, constitutional machinery breakdown. So constitutional machinery breakdown means if there is instability in the state, within the state of India, so in that case constitutional machinery breaks down, right? So constitutional emergency caused by the breakdown of the constitutional machineries in a state, and that comes under the article 356. Under that article 356, president can declare constitutional breakdown or emergency, right? And the reason is constitutional breakdown under article 356. Or if the law and order is not could not controlled by a state government or ruling government in a state, in that time the constitutional shattered, right? So to maintain that law and order in that state, the president uh, issue an ordinance, and that is during emergency, and that is your constitutional emergency, right? And the third one is financial emergency. So if there is instability in the finance means it's a money, consolidated money or fund, right? So financial emergency caused by a threat to financial stability of India, that comes under article 360. So these three emergency can be declared by the president, and that's the emergency powers of the president. Only president can issue an ordinance during these situations. So these situations means what kind of situations? Constitutional breakdown, national emergency national emergency means during crisis, during civil war or aggressions, and during financial instability. Clear? Okay, now let's move to the next power, that is the discretionary power of the president. So from this we should not conclude, right, that the president is just a figurehead or a golden zero for only ceremonial purposes. So from this we come to know that the president holds a great position. Clear? So he is not only a figurehead, he is not only a ceremonial head, or he is not only a nominal head, right? So he has a very important role to play in the actual working of parliamentary system in our country. With no single party getting a clear-cut majority, coalition of parties stake their claim to form the government. The president has to use his individual judgment and invite such a leader to head the government as prime minister, who can provide a stable government to the country. So this is a very important point. In this era of coalition politics, the president has a distinctive role to play. So when there is no or with no single party getting a clear majority, because to win a confidence or to get a position, what is needed? A majority is needed, right? So when there is no majority, in case of no majority, in that case, or when there is no clear getting of no clear majority, so in that situation, the parties, coalition of parties, coalition means it's a mixture of more than two parties. Coalition parties will be established, and in that condition, the president has to give his individual judgment and invite a person among that parties to invite that person as a leader of the government, as a prime minister. So that's a very important function of the president. Clear? So this is only in case of when there is no clear-cut majority, or when no party or no single party getting a clear majority. In that case, his function, his part is very important. So he plays a very vital role in this situation. So in this era, in this situation of coalition politics, mixture of two or three parties, the president has a distinctive role to play. Clear? Okay. So let's move to the next. That is the position of the president. Though I told you, though the position of the president is nominal only, for name only, but from the president's from his emergency and discretionary powers, we come to know that he is not only a figurehead, he has a very distinctive role, right, in a country. So in a country like India, so under the parliamentary system, the president is a constitutional or nominal head of the state. So this is point to be noted. India has a parliamentary form of government. So what is parliamentary form of government? Where the head is what? Where the president is as a nominal head only, right? And the real powers lies in the hands of prime minister. So that's the parliamentary form of government. So in that case, president acts as a nominal head, acts as a constitutional head. He represents the Indian nation, but he does not rule it. He is the first citizen of India, or he is the first citizen of a country. He represent the Indian nation, but he does not rule. Clear? So that's the nominal head. Now let's talk about the limitations of the president. There are two main limitations on the president. That is, there is the prime minister and the council of ministers to aid and advise the president in the exercise of his powers. As I told you, India has a parliamentary form of government, and president acts as a nominal head, constitutional head. So what he has to do, the president has to follow, or we can say the prime minister and his council of ministers, the prime minister and the council of ministers to aid and advise the president, right, in the exercise of his powers. Discussed and the powers in the president of the president are in fact exercised by the real executives, that is the prime minister and the council of ministers. Clear? So president, from this we come to know president is only the nominal head, right? The real executive powers are in the hands of prime minister and council of minister, his council of ministers, right? So whatever decision the president has to take, or in case of emergency also, in case of ordinance also, whenever he has to issue that ordinance, or whenever he has to pass an order, that order that should be that order or that ordinance should be on the advice of prime minister and the council of ministers. Clear? Okay. Now, all proclamation of emergencies, I told you just now, made by the president under Article 352, 356 and 360 have to be laid before the parliament for approval within 1 month. If a proclamation of emergency is not approved, it becomes null and void and ceases to operate. So as I told you, during emergency, during war, during civil war, during crisis, during aggressions, the president has that emergency power to issue an ordinance. But that ordinance should be what? Laid before the parliament for the approval within 1 month, right? And if a proclamation of emergency is not approved within that 1 month, then that will be lapse. Means that will lapse. That means it becomes null and void, right? And ceases to operate. Clear? Okay. Now, so till here we have discussed about the emergency power, discretionary powers of the president, and position and limitations of the on the president's powers, right? So now let's move to the next topic, that is the vice president and his position. Vice president also holds an important position in our country, and vice president is the ex officio chairman of the Rajya Sabha, right? And Venkaiah Naidu is the present vice president of India. Clear? Now let's talk about the qualifications to become the vice president. So the qualifications are, number one, top of all, he or she must be a citizen of India. Secondly, the age should not less than 35 years, right? If a person is 34 years and 11 months, 34 years or 33 years, then he or she is not eligible to contest or he or she cannot be the vice president, because the age limit is 35 years or above. 35 years or above, right? And that person must be qualified as a member of Rajya Sabha. So this is point to be noted. For president, Lok Sabha, he or she must be a member of Lok Sabha. In case of vice president, he or she must be the member of Rajya Sabha, right? Or he must be qualified for election as a member of Rajya Sabha. So this is point to be noted. Next, he should not hold any office of profit. I told you a person cannot hold two offices under the government same time. So the person should not hold the office of profit under the center or the state government. Clear? So these are the qualifications to become the vice president of India. Now next is term. So once the member is elected as a once the person is elected as a vice president, then that person can hold office for 5 years. So 5 years is the term. Earlier vacated, unless earlier vacated by resigning and writing to the president, or however the vice president continues in office until the next successor joins the office, right? So 5 years is the term, and before 5 years also the president can resign, and in case of illness, in case of uh, unable to discharge his work, or in case of his or her death, right? So in that cases, the seat of vice president is vacant. Now next is removal. So removal, the correct term is impeachment. Now he may be removed by a majority resolution of the Rajya Sabha supported by the Lok Sabha. So the person, the vice president, can also remove from his or her office, and a procedure is there that is by a majority uh, resolution of the Rajya Sabha as well as Lok Sabha, supported by the Lok Sabha. And that term, removal of vice president, that procedure is known as impeachment. Emoluments, salary and allowances. He or she receives 4 lakh per month, monthly salary. And in addition to the daily allowance, as permissible to an MPs, that means member of parliament, when he acts as a president, the vice president draws the same emoluments as the president draws. In case of president's death, president's illness, or president's resignation, the vice president for some time, or for time being, the vice president acts as a president. So in that time, when the vice president acts as a president, the vice president draws. That means he gets the same salary as the president draws. Clear? Okay. Otherwise, vice president gets 4 lakh per month, and extra allowances, daily allowances also he gets, and that as a permissible to an MP. That means member of parliament. Election. So what is the procedure of election? The state legislatures have no hand in the election of the vice president. Very important point to be noted. Both the houses of the parliament sitting together elect the vice president. The nomination paper for the vice presidential candidate must be proposed by 20 MPs and seconded by another 20 MPs as per the ordinance of June 1997. He is also supposed to deposit rupees 15,000 as security. So legislatures. So I told you about the electoral college. So what is this electoral college? I told you electoral college is a group of members, or we can say it's a elected members of MPs and elected member of MLAs who participate in the election of president and vice president. So that is electoral college, right? So I told you elected member of MPs, member of parliament, and elected member of legislative assembly. But point to be noted here, electoral college, in case of vice president, that is also elected by electoral college, but that consists of, there is no hand of state legislatures. Is that clear? So in case of vice president, president is elected by the member of MPs, and there is no hand in the of state legislatures. That means MLAs. State legislatures have no hand in election of the vice president. So this is the point to be noted. Clear? Okay, now next we have powers and the functions of the vice president. The vice president is the ex officio chairman of the Rajya Sabha. So ex officio chairman means he is the chairman of Rajya Sabha. That means he has to regulate the meetings of the house. That means the Rajya Sabha, meetings of Rajya Sabha. Clear? Secondly, he decides about the admissibility of the questions or the resolutions in the House, in the Rajya Sabha. So admissibility of the questions, that means what type of questions to be asked and what type of questions to be asked first and what not to be asked, right? So that is decided by the chairman, that is the vice president. And very important, a vice president, he has no significant functions except ceremonial, that is to receive certain categories of VIP from abroad, and he takes over the president in case of what? Like he acts as a president in case of the death of president, resignation of the president, removal of the president, and in case of illness of the president. In these cases, the vice president acts as a president, right? So in absence or for any other reason, when the president is unable to discharge his work, in that case also, the vice president acts as a president. In reality, his position as a vice president is dignified but not very strong. Clear? Okay. So here we have discussed the position, powers, and the functions of vice president also. And you also come to know about the qualifications, term, emoluments, salaries, allowances of the vice president as well as the president. Now, next we have the topic, that is the prime minister, very important topic. And now this topic, the prime minister and his council of ministers, his powers and functions, his real or his position in the country, that will come to know in the next video, next class. Clear, children? Okay. So here I'll take your leave now. Soon we'll meet in the next video. Till then, bye-bye.